going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
This effort, and China has big plans for this. They intend to seed their digital yuan into the global environment by giving it away to visitors at next winter's Olympics. When they arrive at the airport, they're going to get yuan digital wallets. They're going to receive digital yuan. They're going to use it throughout their visits to Beijing, and then they're going to take it back to their home countries. They see this as a huge advantage. Why? Because who controls the underlying protocols, who controls the underlying standards of the future of money will control the future of money.
David, that's right. Last week's $320 million crypto heist from the Wormhole network is being called the fourth biggest crypto hack of all times. And that's reminding investors of the dangers of some of these cutting edge services. Now, Mandiant's Rob Wallace told me the sheer size of the theft that's possible in the crypto space dwarfs anything that we've seen in traditional finance.
I've investigated some of the largest bank heists in history. And the largest bank heist we've ever seen was 80 million. Perpetrated by a nation state. And here we have a $320 million heist, and it's only the fourth or fifth largest crypto heist ever.
And he said investors who are brave enough to venture into this realm should prepare themselves and go in with their eyes open.
It very much feels like the Wild West out there. There are ways to protect yourself, understanding the protocols and the investments and doing your own research. Still, though, there are risks associated with these tools that are out there.
So Wallace recommends using the so-called blue chip platforms of the decentralized finance world, which have seen a lot more usage and therefore security testing than some of the newer offerings. The blue chips include, he said, MakerDAO, Compound, Uniswap, and Aave. In last week's case, Wormhole offered the hacker a $10 million bug bounty if they would return the stolen funds, but the hacker never replied to that. And Wormhole also offered a $10 million reward for information leading to the arrest of the hacker, which, as far as we can tell, has not been claimed yet. Now, the company behind Wormhole, which is Jump Crypto, said it would step up and make the $320 million in losses whole in order to support Wormhole now as it continues to develop. So that is an expensive lesson learned, guys. Back over to you.
Welcome to the Cryptoteacher. And guys, I come back with that video just to make you think. And we have CNBC, speaking of hacking. And didn't I just do a video, guys, saying that the biggest crypto hack is coming? And they actually said investors who are brave enough to participate in this asset class. And then call it the Wild Wild West. When we know all the big banks, all the big corporations are throwing trillions of dollars at crypto, building this fourth industrial revolution. But we know they have to use the Hegelian dialectic to keep the sheep scared enough so they don't invest or at least educate themselves on this new asset class. And then, guys, we have mining. Mining is not going anywhere. Yes, we always hear this topic of energy. We have all this climate change, but we know this is all surrounded by agendas. We know renewable energy is right around the corner. And we see the casino products being built around mining. So, guys, we know when it comes to Bitcoin and cryptos, yes, they're going to take a beat down right along with stocks. But we know when this fourth industrial revolution rise, we know cryptos are going to be right there. And then lastly, guys, we have the Russia movie continues. And if you're new to the channel, you may ask, what does this have anything to do with crypto? It has a lot to do with it because basically, in order for China to rise, America, the Babylon, the legacy market has to fall. And the conflict is going to go through Russia. They have programmed the mine for years. But we can't put any type of sanctions against Russia because Russia doesn't rely on the dollar. We can't stop their gas pipeline because Europe wouldn't get any gas. But what the New World Order can do is set up that distraction. So therefore, China intervenes. China goes in Taiwan. Who's in charge of all the semiconductors right now? Taiwan. So any type of conflict that will stop these semiconductors from coming to the United States, it will slow down everything. The whole economy would shut down. Also, we know how important Taiwan is to an actual conflict. And I've done plenty of videos on that. But we know China and the United States has to come into conflict in order for that China digital yuan to rise and be that world reserve currency backed by that digital SDR. And the crypto teacher wrote about it a long time ago because he knows when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Regulatory environment is there are lots and lots of people who are regulating the space or attempting to. The CFTC, the SEC, the Department of Treasury, and the group that seems to be focused on mining right now is more really a group of people concerned regarding the energy use of proof of work as a technology. Proof of work is what secures the Bitcoin blockchain and makes it the most secure blockchain out there. North American Bitcoin miners are predominantly using renewable energy. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions in the US today regarding energy use. Many people don't realize we actually generate about 14% more energy than is consumed in the US. And 10% of the time, for example, in Texas, energy is negatively priced, meaning the energy companies have to pay people to take it because they have excess energy. We've built out a lot of renewable energy in the US, and it produces power at a time of day when most consumers aren't using it, which is the middle of the day. And Bitcoin miners provide this great baseload customer for renewable energy providers. We are focused predominantly on attaching to the power grid behind the meter, so to say, at the point of power generation, which allows us to be curtailed or shut off whenever the grid needs the energy. So we act as a type of battery, you could say, a buffer, so that the energy companies are getting paid for energy when consumers don't want it and don't pay for it. And then when the consumers need it, we voluntarily shut off. And you can see most of the news regarding the recent cold weather in Texas. The vast majority of miners voluntarily said, hey, shut us down. We don't, we want to provide the energy to the grid so that people don't lose electricity. So the U.S. energy market is very different from the European one. And I think it's a question of education. People really need to learn about energy, how it works, the fact you can't store it very easily, you can't ship it long distances. And the only reason the consumers would ever go without power is typically a grid-related issue, not a power generation or because a Bitcoin miner is operating issue. With that, I don't invest in gold, I invest in gold miners. Why? Well, the gold miner has a very large amount of gross margin in their production that you don't get when you buy spot gold as an investor. Same thing with spot Bitcoin. It costs Marathon a little over $6,000 to produce a Bitcoin when Bitcoin is trading today at around $44,000 a Bitcoin. That's a very profitable business. And we don't sell our Bitcoin, so we hold it. So we're constantly accumulating more and more Bitcoin. We're the 5th largest holder of Bitcoin of publicly traded US companies today. And we continue to hold. We're a very lean operator. We're very asset light. And with the profit margins that cost of production affords us, we become a very attractive stock as we grow our production capacity. And we're growing about 7-fold this year, our capacity, from a perspective of the amount of exahash that we're producing, or think of it as our compute power. And so it becomes a very interesting proxy for Bitcoin because you get the benefit of the profit margin of the producer as opposed to just the incremental value in the spot market price of the underlying commodity.
Listen.
If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.